Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is a very short meeting to just give a very quick status update on where we are. And I just want to check around and see if there are any folks who are joining us for the first time. So if you wouldn't mind stepping forward and just introducing yourself so other people can kind of welcome you, that'd be great. So anybody who's joining for the first time, please, if you can just introduce yourself. Maybe it's all veterans today.
Yeah, must be veterans.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so since we are really have a very packed agenda, and I will get going. First of all, welcome everybody, and we're going to start the agenda today by providing a very quick update on the WEFTEC WISE workshop. And before we get into that, I just want to see if if Barry or if Fidan and Barry have some comments that they would like to make about the workshop before we launch into the kind of the details of what the workshop looked like. Or I can put up the agenda for the workshop just to provide the context for everything. So Fidan, do you?
Yeah. Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Sure. On our end, it was a successful workshop. It was specifically geared for potential prospects for WISE, sorry. And we had 10 new utilities. So on our end, we'll be following up with them and encouraging them to join as utility partners for WISE. Aside from that, I think the feedback we got was that it was really helpful to hear from the utility partners and their case studies and the stories from them, because that really drove the WISE program home to all these utilities that are completely new to it. And they found that to be really valuable. There were a few people in the workshop that they have never heard about WISE. They were completely new to it. And some of them stumbled into it because their other workshops were canceled, but they were happy to be there. And the feedback was, we now have to join WISE and we're glad to be here because all of the information we received just by participating in the workshop was worth it all.
There is a bit of feedback. So I'm not sure if somebody called on the phone or whatever. There is a bit of feedback I'm getting, but we have. Barry, did you want anything? So a question in the chat line.
Yeah, are you talking about the John Norton?
Yeah.
Question? Because this was a regular workshop. This wasn't a WISE demo. It was set up as a utility management workshop because the content is valuable. So that was why it was proposed that way originally, and this was a carryover from before from the UAIM time. So.
And John, moving forward for UMC and future WEFTECs, we're going to have WISE as just a meeting without the title of workshop. So it will be free to all the utility partners as well as new potential prospects that are interested in learning more. So we'll be avoiding that in the future.
Thank you so much for that. It took a long time, several months, for me to fully appreciate how good the how good the crack was that Cello and Scott are providing. And I know when we're trying to grow the energy one, and as we do that, it's certainly like to get folks in, get them talking, get them to go, oh, hey, there's some tools here. And then there you go. And it's just like, especially if the fee is going to be $20,000 and, it's only $200 to attend a meeting. It's like, we get one new utility in that's engaged that pays for all of the attendees just about. So thank you very much for that.
Yes, Fidan, please continue.
The only other item I have is we did mention mentorships for utility partners for those that are interested. Those are geared more towards the younger professionals that would like mentorship through WISE. If there are any interested participants that would like to have mentorship, WEF is more than happy to set it up. Just feel free to send me the names of those utility partners and we will work on it on our end. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Barry, any thoughts before we move on?
No, sir. Onward and upward.
Okay, thank you. So this is the agenda. This was a big event. It had 242 slides that we went through, and I think 4 or 5 Mentimeter sessions. So people, I think, were kind of glad when it was over. And I think the most positive votes came from the fact that I only spoke for about 15 minutes the whole day. So that was a big plus. And we had 4 sort of blocks of time, and the first block of time was for the business process modeling initiatives, and then Ott from Kansas City Water came in, and it was really helpful. And Duncan Mukira from DC Water was facilitating the session, did a really, really nice job. So they provided sort of an example, a live example, how business process modeling was helpful and what it does and stuff like that. So it was really excellent, presentation that showed the value of business process modeling. Then after the break, these yellow bands are interactive pieces. And when we asked audience questions, and there was always, these were facilitated, not presentations. So the second block was in the morning was on the intelligent water systems and the maturity assessment. This is work on the Water Research Foundation project 5039. Kevin Johnson is with Stantec. They have the contract. I happen to be the co-principal investigator on this project. So we're hoping on our WISE initiative to pick up and leverage, and expecting to leverage the work that was being done there. And it would start addressing that technology column. We have an initiative dedicated to this that was originally proposed by Yvonne Carney from Washington Suburban. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting today, actually, of that group. So it was quite interesting presentation, and people were quite engaged. Then in the afternoon, several of the people in the first session was dedicated to workforce and organizational culture initiative. There are things going on there. So Lisa, the three key people, Lisa Thompson from MCES, Kaisa Osman from Great Lakes, and Alice from Portland BES, could not make it to, were not able to come to WEFTEC. So they put together a movie that each had about 10 minutes or so that we presented to the audience. That was very thought-provoking on this initiative. And then after that, Scott provided facilitated discussion and feedback, and we captured comments. I'll share with you some of the comments after I get through the agenda. So that was the third block. And the fourth block was on change management. Ramona Harry from City of Baltimore made the presentation. She's the lead on the initiative, and there was a really good discussion afterwards. Again, Scott was facilitating. And after that, it was really just a few notes from me on how we're going to move forward, and then it was conclusion and wrap up. So let me just give you a snapshot of kind of things. So this was during the business process modeling session, and we asked them to think of a business process and asked them, well, if you think of this process, where is the knowledge how are the business needs defined? And this was the response. In most cases, it was sort of like individuals made these decisions, and not so much on this end where it's well defined, including metrics for this process, or defined and well documented and include metrics that are aligned with KPIs. So that was quite informative. This was also a response on the business process question: what type of analytics are required to support this project, to support the business process that you have in mind? And not much of that was in terms of automation. Mostly it was just on reporting what happened and the predictive analytics in terms of what could happen in the future. Just to give you a taste, this will be published, or actually it is already posted, and you can look at it, look at these results. And what are the business goals? And most of the time it had to do with performance and regulatory compliance. So that was really kind of interesting feedback. And the last on business processes was for your business goals, how is performance tracked? Because, okay, you have these goals, and it seems like most of them, about a third of them, really didn't have formally defined and documented goals. And then the rest, seem to have fairly good, mature. However, only one of them, these goals was tracked and used in combination with other metrics. So that was kind of interesting feedback. This was from the feedback and interactive session from the change management assessment. And again, it was really nice. Ramona did a really nice job. And the questions like, what are issues in change management that you have encountered in the past in terms of technology, configuring technology silos, issues with processes, goals and metrics not being clear, or lack of sponsorship on the executive level to lack of effective communication. So this kind of input is actually very useful for us on our own initiatives as well. Also, in terms of capabilities, this was reported by the utilities that were in terms of business process documentation, defining the metrics, gave us some interesting insight into where utilities are. And again, all this is posted. And these are comments that at the end of the day we received from people. And again, the only negative was related to me because I brought some cookies and they wanted more coffee in the cookies. So, again, pretty consistent failure on my part. But the rest of the stuff, they enjoyed the conversation, thought it was good information and so forth. So I'm going to just stop at this time and quickly, because we have so limited time today, see if there are any questions or concerns. Or maybe if some of the leads who are in this virtual room have anything to say about their experience from the workshop.
Zanetta was clapping. I didn't see anybody else.
Okay. Thank you, Zanetta. So, okay. So the next thing to report on is the
Cello, Ramona, it looks like Ramona has a question.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Cool. Did we get any feedback from the new utilities? I know Pinellas County, Florida, the young lady seemed like she was really interested. Do we know if we're going to get some participation from any of those folks? I'm trying to widen the breadth of change management and have some more participation with change management.
It's an excellent question, and Fidan will have to answer. I don't yet have the email contacts for the people who are in the workshop, and we do plan to reach out to them as soon as possible and see if we can engage them.
Yeah,
Fidan, you're still there?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still here. Ramona, I got the emails from the 10 utilities that were in the room. In terms of the feedback we got in person was that they were glad that they were attending, and we have to, on our end, send them an email with all the presentations, including yours, as well as the videos that were shared. So I will be following up with them now that I have their contact information and sending them also the application form to sign up to become utility partners. And as soon as we know if they're in or out, we'll be able to share that with you so they could be added to the group.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a very good question. Marco Merrick has a question.
Yeah, thank you. So in speaking of regarding change management, and as I've shared before, I am the acting chief of equity and environmental justice in the Baltimore City Department of Public Works. So understanding the whole notion of change absolutely speaks to our initiatives and the priorities that are placed around equity and justice in the environment. How then are these, particularly with the workshop, how are we engaging the priorities of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and of course, justice around the environment in the workshops? Are we seeing that kind of approach and that kind of representation being demonstrated?
So, you want to answer, Cello, or you want me to go?
I think you can answer, yes.
Okay. So, Marco, what I would since we're both at DPW, I would love for you to join the change management team, because what we're doing is based on the information and the tools created in the workforce group and in the organizational culture group, that initiatives that speak to equity and speak to how we develop our workforce, how they view what we're doing and what they feel their needs are, that informs us as to how we apply change management to get those things implemented over an organization, or how we develop tools or guidance for utilities in as they relate to change management, because change management is usually based on all the research and all of the off-the-shelf products we looked at. It's usually driven by a value proposition. Usually corporations are looking at how they can either make money, how they can prevent loss, those types of things. And the change management initiatives are driven by some incentive, whether it's increased in salary, bonuses, those types of things. For municipal governments, we can't necessarily give a bonus because there's this new great process that's implemented. So what we're looking at is, how do we guide utilities to engage the workforce, to impact the organizational culture, and fit the rewards to a municipal government. So I think that you participating in change management and being able to look at what they're doing in organizational culture and workforce and those tools will help us to develop guidance for utilities for diversity and inclusion when we apply those processes.
Great. And you can also join organizational culture and workforce a team, Marco, if you're keen, because they may be discussing these things a lot as well. So
I appreciate all of that, and you can circle back with me, because absolutely I welcome that invite, and I'll do what I can. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zanetta has her hand raised.
Zanetta.
Thanks.
I just want to add, and I don't want to tell you about what your organization does, but I don't know if you're aware about how that was introduced on the CIP delivery team. We worked on that in terms of what you all are doing, in terms of even making those decisions in terms of your capital budget. So we've involved that. We had Baltimore to present, and then also I want to share with you, because I'm the vice chair, I'm the vice chair for Utility Management Committee, where a lot of us are involved. Is that in our last meeting, which we also included an update from WISE, because this falls under the Utility Management Committee, is that our last meeting we had a huge a whole presentation about how to get utilities involved with DE&I, and how that is tied to even to our organization in terms of our change management, in terms of our strategic planning, community development, workforce, and all of those things. So I think that we have a lot of resources and stuff that we can also contribute, and portion of that, and it's all kind of connected because it's all interwebbed in that. And then WEF has a huge DE&I. I'm sorry if I can't talk today. I've been talking since 5 o'clock this morning. Also is involved with that too. And so there's a whole lot of movement and conversations. And I think what I'm getting at is that we can take what everybody is doing and bring this over here and include it, and then give those resources. But we have a good set of information already to build upon. So that's all I want to share, if that makes any sense.
Thanks, Sanel.
Yeah, Marco, would you like me to, if you don't already have a invite to the workforce and organizational culture meetings, let me know, because I can, include you on that. Our first meeting is on Monday at 10:30 Eastern. So they meet every 2 weeks, and there's also work done by the core team. So there's a lot of stuff happening on that initiative. That's why
my default answer is always yes. So just hopefully don't have overlapping meetings, but yes, yes, and yes.
Okay, good. So let's move forward, and Mark, if you don't mind just giving us a few words of, there was a steering committee meeting, so if you can give us an update.
Hey, yeah, you bet. Thanks, Cello. Just a quick update. I think we're very close on what we're trying to accomplish from a strategic standpoint over the next couple of years. And really, what the steering committee asked the project team to do, the program team to do, was to go back and finish up the action plan and bring that forward for them to review. So I hope in 2 weeks, and at the latest 4 weeks in our meeting, two meetings from now, I should have that action plan to share with everyone. That the steering committee will have approved for us to move forward on. So just a quick update. And again, if anyone would like to join the steering committee who's not already a member, you are welcome to join. Any utility partner is welcome to join the strategic steering committee. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. So we have a few minutes just for a discussion and a little bit more engagement of people. We originally had workshops 3 times a year before the pandemic. It was a utility management conference, a summer meeting, and then a WEFTEC. So we're planning a workshop at utility management conference. We can talk about that, whether it should be half a day or whether it should be full day. And then the summer workshop would be hosted by a utility, which means last time it was Clean Water Services, and it was really great. We were there for a full week, 40 representatives from different utilities. They got a lot done, and it was really working sessions, and everybody loved it. So just
mention the fun that we had in the evening, Cello.
Yeah, and we had some fun in the evenings as well. So the question is just thoughts that you have about these workshops, whether they should be, because if it's a utility management conference, if it's half a day, it's difficult to get real work done in half a day on 6 initiatives. So maybe we should target it to be more like a marketing to new utilities or whatever. So I'm just going to open the floor and see if people have any ideas on how to approach these workshops, or if you want to offer to host or whatever.
Kesra.
I was wondering if it would make sense to hold some of these workshops virtually, not just sort of have a 1-day, session with everything, but sort of say over the course of the next 2 weeks, 2 hours a day, and then you focus in on one topic and have people sort of register for the series. Just a thought, because I think a lot of people in this environment are more comfortable, you know, with virtual workshops as opposed to physically flying and meeting somewhere.
It's an excellent suggestion. It's an excellent suggestion, and I think we'll have to work with WEF and see how we can make that happen. So, and if you have more detailed, thoughts or instructions, just drop us an email and we'll work on it. Now, the utility management conference, as you see, is in Florida, and it's not that far. It's February, so we'll need to start planning things earlier, and we can have this virtual series. I think that. And did you think that we should be? So okay, so these would be really working sessions for WISE participants already. It'll be focused on getting the work done and not on marketing or anything like that. Is that correct, Gracia?
I mean, it could be twofold, right? It could be working sessions, but it could also target new people. It could be a marketing tool too. Come join us, see what we do.
Okay.
And then if you have a series, I know, so for example, here at the Michigan AWWA, I'm part of the Communication Council. And for the last 2 years, we've been having, twice a year, we have these workshops. There are four workshops. They're an hour and a half each. It's spread over 2 weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays, about communication techniques, right? And so we get a lot of people that tend to attend those, and then they can pick and choose because you have the topics. If it's risk, if it's change management, a lot of them attend all four. Some of them might attend one or two, but I think it's a good marketing tool as well as sort of a working session.
Excellent idea. Excellent idea. Yeah, we'll Barry and Fidana are on the call. We'll figure out how we can make that happen. Any other thoughts on workshops, Sherry? And yeah,
I don't have a thought on a workshop, but I did want to ask, is there a list or something that we can see which utilities are part of WEF? Of WISE. I had met someone from Philadelphia Water at the last utilities management, and she wasn't sure if they were part of it, but she was very interested. And also I think HRSD would be great as well. So is there a list where, I can see?
Yes, we do have a list, a roster of utilities who are participating already and all the people. So is this Philadelphia Water Department?
Yes.
Yeah, they were my client when I was a consultant for years. All the people I knew retired already, but it's a good organization. It'd be really great if you could pass on, this contact info and we can reach out to them. So that's great.
Okay. You're welcome.
Zanetta, you had your hand up and maybe you wanted to comment on just what went on in the workshop in Portland and how valuable in-person would be as opposed to virtual if by summertime things change from where we're at now.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say. I've been fortunate to be involved in both. And I understand the ability to reach people virtually, but being that we had the Utility Leaders Forum at WEFTEC, you'd be surprised on how many people talked about, and I just had a conversation with the attorney with the Water Alliance, how people are really burnt out on virtual. And I think that there's some value in both and that we need to be targeted, but I cannot tell you how much more we got done. And everybody, because, revenue is reduced and people are still having trouble with travel. I understand that, but maybe use a hybrid approach because we were able to get so much accomplished by being in person. And I do understand the burden of that. But just my experience has been that we were able to get a lot more done by having some workshops. But I do believe that we, and I think I've shared this with someone on the steering committee, that we ought to have some targeted, especially about bringing other people in and having some overview, inviting utilities and give them our presentation. And I think we ought to do that on a quarterly basis. And then look at in terms of also inviting people that are, in terms of succession planning, because what we've also experienced is that people are very much engaged, but if somebody retires or they get another position, which we, a lot of us have been promoted as a result of this, including myself, that some people have roll off. So we really need to have a twofold thing to where we can to do that. So I agree with you in terms of having that, but I really want us to also try to think about at least once a year or what have you, where we can, or twice, where we can still work it. If not everybody could come, have that ability to meet in person. But I do, want to, I agree that it's, because of travel and what's been going on, that it has made it more difficult, and we want to try to encourage everybody else. But that's just what I want to say.
Yeah, and we can do both. We can do these quarterly things virtually. We can do the summer hosted workshop, and just a thought for everybody. And thank you for your input. We're a little bit over the time, so just to see if there are any last comments or questions or concerns.
Cello, if I can add to Sherry's question about the list of people that are part of WISE, we will be adding everyone in WISE to WEFCOM. There will be a WISE page. This way it will be easier for everyone to get in contact with each other, to have side conversations, to basically have a place to put questions or put any ideas that you have, and get a quicker response versus the calls that we have, the all hands calls and other calls. Just an added benefit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cello?
Right. Yes.
Real quick, I'm looking forward to hearing, maybe setting aside some time either at the workshop or a meeting that you could set on marketing strategies in general, the external part. Not seeing much from WEF yet. I'm sure their departments and their gurus maybe be able to help us here. But we got a lot on our plate here, but we can't forget the marketing and branding part.
It's an excellent question, and I'm noting this down, and we'll figure out to have a call with WEF and work on this. If you're interested in participating in this call, please call me. Please send me an email to be included, because we want to hear everybody's ideas. And if you know somebody who would be interested in participating, because marketing would really help us. Barry has.
Yeah, well, yeah, marketing, that outreach has been going on for a year. Over 80,000 different people have been hit through, and we've gone through, broad outreach, targeted things through utility management committee and that kind of thing. So one of the key questions about the marketing is not that nothing's been done. It's just this is a niche group. How do you get targeted? And so any ideas about how to target and not the broad swath, because like I said, stuff's been going out for a year for many, many thousands of people. What would be what would get your attention as we're all bombarded with marketing messages from everything all the time? So you're the target audience. So tell us how we can, what things would be worthwhile, and we can make that happen.
That's great. And in the spirit of that, I'll send out a note to everybody and say, we're planning such a meeting. Let us know if you want to participate. And, I'm sure that there are a lot of, I know from experience, there are a lot of people in the participating utilities who know a lot more about many things than I do. So I'll be always glad to hear from them. Any last things before we close the call today? Okay, well, I'll stop recording, and